AMTA is a technical association that advocates the use of membrane technology for water treatment, ranging from wastewater reclamation and reuse to seawater desalination. The board of directors of AMTA decided that we should make an effort to interview as many of the early pioneers in the development of this technology, not only the membrane but also the membrane systems that came along with it, as a way of preserving the history of this technology. Today I have Mr. Don Walker, Mr. Bob Pallais, and Mr. Carl Hickman. Don?
I'm Don Walker, and my first exposure to the reverse osmosis industry was when I was in purchasing at General Atomic.
Bob, how about you?
Well, I actually started out of college in the petroleum industry, so I have kind of a little bit different, perspective on the water treatment business than maybe some others. And I spent about 6 years with UOP. Started with fluid sciences, and that was in 1974. And then a year later, UOP merged fluid sciences with ROGA.
Carl, how about you?
Well, I've been in the water treatment business since 1959. I joined what was then General Atomic. It was before even the ROGA group in 1970 as what was supposed to be the start of a new group to do ion exchange in association with reverse osmosis. The connection between high purity water, semiconductor manufacturing, and ion exchange was just being made at that time.
It was fun to go to work and really enjoy it because you knew that you were doing something positive to provide water to people to consume, or water for boiler feed water, for the electronics industry, the ultra pure water. And I think that, in those areas we had an awful lot to do with the growth of the electronics industry and assisting them with the purified water to make the integrated circuits.
And why did Fluid Systems decide to get out of the systems business?
Well, if I had to answer to that, I probably would have been in top management with fluid systems, but I couldn't quite figure that out. It was very frustrating because working with people like Carl and Don, and we had a very tight organization. Like I said, it was run very similar to the way UOP ran the process division. Everything was done very carefully, considered carefully, and the systems were designed to operate over a long period of time and to operate properly. And yet, I feel a part of the reason is that water treatment business is a very difficult business. When I came into the business, I got what all young engineers got. We called it RO fever.
Right.
We found out about reverse osmosis, and we said, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
The military, when they caught on to the reverse osmosis, I don't believe that any unit gets out in the field now that they don't have a reverse osmosis, a portable reverse osmosis unit that they use to produce water for the troops.
You've been to some interesting places, Carl, one of which
yes.
I know about personally.
Some of them are even pleasant places to visit.
Give us a few anecdotes, if you will.
You and I earlier today discussed the reverse osmosis unit for the Royal Palace at Thol, Saudi Arabia.
Right.
That was one. The company involved is immaterial, but I was contacted as the startup engineer. I was going to go to Saudi Arabia to start the plant. Construction was essentially complete.
And so you found yourself, as I recall, making a control panel out of a piece of plywood and some light switches.
I went to Jeddah when the control system would not work. I went to Jeddah to a hardware store and bought 12 light switches and used those to get the plant online so we could fill the freshwater swimming pool so the Sultan's daughter could swim that weekend.
When you progressed from fluid systems into your own business, Don, can you tell us a little bit about that and how you went about doing that? And
That was quite a project, and I knew that there were a lot of chemicals used in the business, so I decided that I would get into the chemical sales business, and maybe mixing some of these chemicals together, if you will. But I started out with it in my garage, and that was quite an experience because I would have to order, because I didn't have any money, a drum of chemicals at the time. The neighbors would see these big trailer trucks coming up and dumping chemicals off on my garage.
In 1976, Charlie Hull started the project for the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority. I don't know if you were familiar with that one. It was a 1 million gallon a day plant, which today doesn't sound like much, but back then, when Charlie turned it over to me, he said, this is going to be one of the biggest ones in the world. We had Ocean Reef, which was 1 million gallons a day. This was going to be 1 million gallons a day. And what happened was, right after Charlie started that job, we got the Orange County job, 5 million gallons a day. So Charlie took that job and gave me Florida Keys, and I went down there and worked with the Aqueduct Authority down there, and we had some interesting things happen on that one. It was a brackish job where we were running about, I think, 50% recovery, and there was, of course, H2S.
right.
And they had a neighbor right next door, a lady, kind of a little bit different personality, and apparently she painted the inside of her house. She was always complaining to Bill. I think it was Bill Wardell. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think that,
he was
Bill
the head of the authority, and she was always calling him, complaining about us, too much noise, water running down the road or whatever. Well, she called him one day and said, I just had my house painted, and it was painted blue, and now it turned pink. The H2S was, the wind changed and it went over to her house. So we had to admit on that one that we kind of, were causing a little problem. No, I didn't repaint it, but, I think we talked with Carl and we injected some chlorine and the degasifier, and everything was okay.
Where you think the industry is going? Is it a panacea? Has it grown as you expected it would? And if you had to do it over again, would you do the same thing? Don?
I'll answer the last part of your question first. Yes, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I think very positively that reverse osmosis will grow and grow. I think we have more water problems than you can shake a stick at in the United States. And for reclaiming this water, I think a lot can be done with reverse osmosis to help it get back.
I was very glad that I got into this business and that I've been able to see it grow, and it's taken a lot more years than what I thought it was going to take. What I was predicting way back in the early years, and I think we're beginning to see it, is that membranes will be used more and more in industrial applications for separating different types of chemicals rather than just water. Mm-hmm. And I think it has a very bright future in that area. It's much more difficult to do that, and that's why I think it's taken time for that to develop. But I think that's really the future for membrane separations.